Thank you, Speaker, sir, for giving me permission to speak in this important debate. This is a momentous occasion for the whole country when we are celebrating 75 years of our journey as a constitutional republic. Speaker, sir, if you look at our immediate neighborhood and contrast it to our experience, we are the only thriving constitutional democracy in our immediate neighborhood. This is the strength of this country and the testament to not only the strength of our constitution, the sublime constitution that our constituent makers gave us, but it is also a testament to the strength of this civilization, this culture that has always placed the values of democracy, the values of freedom of expression, and dharma as the foundation stone of this civilization. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, who played the pivotal role in drafting of this constitution, also acknowledged and appreciated the value of this civilizational culture in democracy and strengthening the democracy in this country. I would only want to take two lines from his very interesting quote. Baba Saheb Ambedkar expounds on how the Upanishadic principles of Aham Brahmasmi and Tattvamasi form the foundation, the theoretical foundation, the philosophical foundation of democracy. He says, if all persons are parts of Brahma, then all are equal and all must enjoy the same liberty, which is what democracy means. Looked at from this point of view, there cannot be a slightest doubt that no doctrine could furnish a stronger foundation for democracy than the doctrine of Brahma. He also further goes and says, when Western students of democracy have spread the belief that democracy has stemmed either from Christianity or from Plato, and that there is no other source of inspiration for democracy, if they had known that India too had developed the doctrine of Brahmism, which furnishes a better foundation for democracy, they would not have been so dogmatic. India too must be admitted to have made towards a contribution towards a theoretical foundation for democracy. This is what Baba Saheb Ambedkar says. It was on this very philosophy that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has declared to the world that India is the mother of democracy. That is the strength of from where we derive that's the philosophical foundation from where we derive the strength for our constitution. Speaker, sir, this civilizational value of India, that we are a civilizational state, was implicitly addressed and appreciated in this constitution when India was referred to as Bharat in Article 1 of the Constitution. Our constituent makers appreciated the millennia-old civilizational history and considered India to be a sacred geography. The Vishnu Purana said, Uttaram yat samudrasya himadraischeva dakshinam varsham tad bharatam nama bharati yatra santati. From then, the country was considered a sacred geography. But unfortunately, Speaker, sir, starting from the first Prime Minister in the Congress party, Pandit Nehru, to the communists and the others who followed, India was not considered a sacred geography because they did not have the civilizational worldview that India was a millennia-old state. They approached India as a union of states, more a private jagir, any part of which could be given to anybody at any point in time, ceded, given away, without even at some times following the constitutional process of law. The attack on the constitution by the Congress party started from the very first article, Article 1. I would want to draw the attention of this nation and the House to how a very important, strategically important island in the Pak Strait in the southern part of the country between India and Sri Lanka, the island called Kachativu, was given away to Sri Lanka by the Congress party and the DMK in 1974 without following any due process envisioned in the Constitution. Speaker, sir, when Pandit Nehru was asked about this very important island called Kachativu, which falls in the Pak Strait, which was part of the then Madras presidency, belonging to Raja of Ramnad, Pandit Nehru says, I attach no importance at all to this little island and I would have no hesitation in giving up our claim to it. This was Pandit Nehru's position on a very important island. And सुनना पड़ेगा गौरव भाई, सुनना पड़ेगा, आपके पीछे आपके हिस्टोरिकल पाप को आप सुनना पड़ेगा. Sir, the DMK, which today is lecturing us the DMK, which is today lecturing us on secularism and the constitutional morality, this party also joined hands. Karunanidhi, who was then the chief minister in 1974, was well made aware that this was the solution and this island would be given away. They also supported this. And in 1974, without bringing an amendment to the Constitution, because Article 1 and Article 3 of the Constitution mandates that if there is any change in the territory of India, that has to be brought before the Parliament. Nothing was done. Parliament was not taken into confidence. Article 1, Article 3 was not amended. Nothing was done. By a mere executive action, a very important island belonging to India was given away for political reasons by the Congress party. Sir, this was not the first instance. Lot was spoken about the basic structure of the Constitution. Parliamentary sovereignty and sovereignty of India is one of the founding principles of the nation. But the Congress party, not just in the instance of Kachativu, but even in the instance of Aksai Chin with respect to China, and more recently it was learned that the UPA government was ready to even give away Siachen to Pakistan. This is their commitment to territorial integrity of this country. This is the difference between one view which considers India to be a civilizational state, a sacred geography, and between one whose leader of opposition, even when he goes abroad, says India is not a nation but is a union of states. Contrast this view to what Atal Bihari Vajpayee's position was. ये अर्पण की भूमि है, ये तर्पण की भूमि है, इसका कंकर कंकर शंकर है, इसका बिंदु बिंदु गंगा जल है. This is the difference between the BJP, which is the protector of the constitution, protector of our territorial integrity, and other political parties like the Congress, which considers India not as a civilizational state, not as a nation, but as a mere hodgepodge union of states. This is an attack on the constitution, Adhyakshi. Adhyakshi, it is this difference in the philosophy of approaching the nation and the constitution that resulted in the Congress party and its successive dynastic prime ministers attacking not just the constitution but the very soul of this country. The forcible insertion of socialist and secular in the Indian constitution during the 42nd amendment was not the first attempt at introducing these two ideas in the constitution and making the constitution rigid. Even during the Constituent Assembly debates, a proposal was made to add socialist and secular into the country's preamble and the constitution. And this was categorically rejected by Baba Saheb Ambedkar. And the reason why Baba Saheb Ambedkar rejected this is very telling. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, while rejecting the proposal to add socialist and secular, makes this very important observation. He says the constitution is merely a mechanism for the purpose of regulating the work of the various organs of the state. It is not a mechanism whereby particular members or particular parties are installed in office. What should be the policy of the state, how the society should be organized in its social and economic side are matters which must be decided by the people themselves according to time and circumstances. Sir, yesterday many members from the opposition said that the Congress party introduced 42nd Amendment, socialism, secularism in the constitution with a laudable objective. Let me tell this nation and let me tell this august house that there was no laudable objective behind that insertion. The only objective was to create a monopoly in politics, monopoly for the dynasty in politics, and monopoly in the economy, so that there will be no challenge to the Congress party's first family. This is exactly what Baba Saheb Ambedkar wanted to oppose. The idea was that by bringing socialism, by saying that there is going to be only one type of form of government, only one type of party, all type of competition was killed in the politics. Dynasty rule was perpetuated. And the idea was that politics will be controlled by the dynasty's monopoly and the economy in turn would be controlled by the state's monopoly. This vicious cycle, Speaker sir, kept the country poor, kept the country hungry, and kept the country backward. The cost for this thrusting of socialism only to keep the country poor and to perpetuate the dynasty's stranglehold on the country's politics, cost the nation dear. In a paper titled The Price of Socialism, noted economist Swaminathan Iyer says that millions of children, let me read it out, Speaker, sir, that 14.5 million children would have survived, 261 million more Indians would have become literate, and 109 million more people would have risen from poverty line had we not approached our economy with this dogmatic approach. This, Speaker, sir, has been the contribution of the Congress party. Yesterday, there was a question of Arthik Nyay. I want to tell you what Arthik Nyay the country saw under, economic justice the Congress saw under, the country saw under the Congress party. Until Prime Minister Narendra Modi came, a large swaths of this country, a large population of this country did not have access to toilets. This was the kind of economic justice they had given. Close to 80% of the country's villages did not have access to electricity, and they speak of economic justice. Close to 50 crore people in this country did not have access to bank accounts, and they speak of economic justice. मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूं, नरेंद्र मोदी जी आने के बाद पहली बार देश के गरीब को आर्थिक न्याय मिला है और संवैधानिक रूप से वो मिला। अध्यक्ष जी, because Baba Saheb Ambedkar was such a staunch opponent of this Congress style of politics, Pandit Nehru declared Baba Saheb Ambedkar to be his enemy number one politically. And today, Speaker, sir, I heard my opponents from the Communist Party, state that the RSS was against the Ambedkar and Ambedkar's constitution. There cannot be anything farther from truth than that assertion. Sir, not once but 2 times, Baba Saheb Ambedkar's electoral chances was thwarted by the Congress and the Communists working together. And Savitri Ambedkar, in her book, Reminiscences of My Life with Ambedkar, notes that S.A. Dange, upon the instructions of Pandit Nehru, worked overtime to defeat Ambedkar in both the by-elections.
Make it brief. Speaker, sir, I want to remind the nation that when Congress and the Communists were trying to defeat Ambedkar, when the Communist leader S.A. Dange gave the slogan, "Let your vote go waste, but do not make Ambedkar win," it was an RSS Pracharak Dattopant Thengdi who was working to make Ambedkar win in the election as his election agent. These historical truths have to be brought in. Speaker, sir, for a very long time, a big hypocritical drama has been conducted in this country where those who are the attackers of the Constitution have posed themselves as the champion of the Constitution. And this hypocrisy must be exposed, Speaker, sir. For a very long time, this hypocrisy has continued. But those who have perpetrated innumerous attacks on the Constitution, destroy the very soul of the Constitution, these people today are posing as the champions, as the protectors of the Constitution. Speaker, sir, the very first attack. Speaker, sir, in a few minutes I will conclude, but this hypocrisy must be exposed. Speaker, sir, the DMK gave us big lectures here on secularism. Their leaders speak of eradicating Sanatana Dharma, and we should listen to these speeches of secularism from them. The leaders from the DMK, Speaker, sir, are speaking about constitutional morality. On 26 November 1957, their fountainhead of inspiration, Periyar, burnt the Constitution, and 200 of those followers were arrested. And from these people, we have to learn lessons of constitutional history and morality. Speaker, sir, the very first attack on the Constitution was made by Pandit Nehru when he curtailed the freedom of expression of people. Very first attack. And who was protecting the Constitution? Then it was Shama Prasad Mukherjee. Speaker, sir, imposing emergency, suspending fundamental rights, arresting 1 lakh opposition leaders, forcible sterilization of 1 million people, imposing emergency. Speaker, sir, this is the legacy. This is what is attacking the Constitution.
Despite being banned, the RSS and the Jansangh fought to restore democracy in this country. This is protecting the constitution. Speaker, sir, Article 356 is misused more than 90 times. Democratically elected governments were removed at the whim of the leaders. This is attacking the constitution. Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas, ek Team India approach, GST Council. This is Narendra Modi's style of protecting the constitution. Speaker, sir, rejecting the Speaker, sir, just 3 minutes, Speaker, sir. I'm concluding in 3 minutes. Rejecting the Kaka Kadelkar committee report with Nehru himself opposing reservations of backward classes is attack on the constitution. Granting constitutional status to the National Commission of Backward Classes is protection of the constitution. Opposing Mandal reservation. Well, Rajiv Gandhi made his longest speech. That is attacking the constitution while introducing OBC reservations in NEET exam, Navodaya Vidyalaya, implementing EWS reservation is the protection of the constitution. Speaker sir, 2 minutes, please. Speaker sir, एक तो important विषय, 2 minutes. Speaker sir, perpetuating dynasty politics is an attack on the constitution, while the Prime Minister's vision of bringing 1 lakh new youth into politics is protection of the constitution.
Thank you very much.
Speaker sir, the Congress introduced the Waqf Act. You are the Speaker sir, you are the chairman of the Waqf JPC. You must give me a minute on this. Speaker sir, आप JPC के chairman हैं, Speaker sir, lot was spoken about secularism. What was the pervert brand of secularism that the Congress party thrusted on this country? A Muslim could be Muslim, a Christian could be Christian, but a Hindu had to be secular. Yes. This was the kind of one-way secularism that the Congress party introduced. Speaker sir, in Karnataka, the place called Anubhava Mantapa, which is Speaker sir, Anubhava Mantapa, the place of Basavana, where Basavana sold the principles of democracy, the philosophy of democracy, that is under Waqf occupation today because of the Congress party enabling legislation. Speaker sir, I only want to conclude by saying this. Speaker,
माननीय सभापति जी, संविधान पर चर्चा पर बोलने के लिए मौका देने के लिए आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। आज मैं यहाँ